Welcome to Montreal's Elite Unleashed. This week, we're back with Sam Colby and Logan Boyce. Oh my goodness, we're going to take it easy for the next 5 days, but after this, I swear, I'm going back to work. I'm
back to business.
Back to business.
Back to business.
We're having a...
Hey guys, welcome back to Montreal's Elite Unleashed. I'm not your host today. That was Bruce. He's going to be hosting with Sam today. This is going to be our first ever long form podcast today because Pilates were canceled, plans were made, and we're just gonna shoot the breeze and have a good talk today with some of who I believe to be the most elite people in Montreal right now. So let's chop it up, guys. I'm excited, but I'm not leading this thing. Bruce, take it away. I'm just having this delicious.
Oh, this is why Logan didn't have any notes, because I guess I was supposed to have some notes. I have zero.
You didn't prepare?
I have zero.
You didn't prepare,
I feel
Bruce?
this was a setup because I said the same thing. Where's the whiteboard?
Yeah, you're right.
Our first hosting episode, we don't even get a whiteboard.
We should have
Saboteur.
You should have asked. You should have asked, guys.
This was the ploy. This was all the ploy. The ploy all along. Yeah, I guess if I'm.
Should we jump in and talk about meat?
Yeah, go to your notes. Go to your notes. It was a meaty one. No one knows what it is.
Nice.
This is bad podcasting.
This is bad.
It's gonna be good.
We're gonna have to turn this around.
Yeah. So I guess if we're just riffing it and we are hosting and we're interviewing Logan, because I was worried that I don't want to answer questions about myself, but let's get him talking.
Let's
get Logan talking.
Get me.
Why did you start this podcast?
Oh, it's a great question. I started the podcast, full transparency, for fighting off obscurity. When you start a new business, one of the most difficult things is to have people know who you are and what you do and why you do it. So this seemed like a pretty easy way of getting that out there and making sure that people knew who I was, what I was about, and that what I'm passionate about, which is helping people and guiding them. Even today, I was talking to Alex today, and I was like, how did I not know this shit like 10 years ago? And it just was very frustrating to me. And she's always devil's advocate, and it was so cool. She was like, maybe you weren't asking the right questions before. And I was like, fuck you, Alex. Because she's so right. She was so right. I just wasn't asking the right questions. So I think to answer your question.
On the podcast?
No.
Or just in general?
In general, okay. Right? And so I think one of the reasons I started the podcast was because a lot of times you don't know what questions you need to be asking next. And a lot of times you might not be having the right mentor at the right time. And in this case, if we can get on some amazing people that are restaurateurs, amazing people who are in e-com businesses, amazing people who are doing, flips, and amazing people who have done real estate, either agency ownership or team running or, insurance and mortgage, and all these people that we've had on the podcast, it's like, man, these are going to be the guys and gals that are going to make you ask the right questions so that you're not asking yourself now, 10 years later, why the hell didn't I know that back then? So that's kind of the reason I started the podcast.
So how many years have you been doing it now?
I've been in real estate for...
No, the podcast specifically.
I bet a year, I guess.
A year, okay.
Yeah?
I feel like when I went back, it was long.
I want to say a year. I don't think it's been going on longer than a year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% couldn't be longer than a year because we did the renovation to build the studio.
Okay.
And it was sunny out. And we haven't gone through a winter with it. This is how you measure time with two kids. That's how you measure time.
Are you referring to us as kids? Okay.
Yeah, but go. I like the other question. Real estate. How long have you been?
Yeah.
I've been in real estate for 15 years, and been running the team for I think like 7 or something like that. But yeah, my dad was in real estate for now 35 years or something like that. He got started in 35 years because he got started in '89.
Crazy.
So, yeah. So kind of learned from him. He was pre-internet, so little cavemanish.
Yeah, the year you were born. What did he do prior to that?
That's a great question. Before that, he was a painter. He was a singer. He was he actually. So you guys know, I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember those coupon books back in the day, the entertainment books?
Yep.
So that concept didn't exist in Quebec till my dad brought it to Quebec. So that concept existed only in Western Canada, and my dad's brother in Edmonton started that whole idea. he'd reach out cold calling all these businesses saying, hey, give me a coupon, give me something. I'm going to put it in a book. I'm going to sell the book, you know? And so that concept then came to Eastern Canada, and my dad spearheaded that because he was working with his brother at the time. So he was doing that for a little while, and yeah, that and the odd jobs of painting or whatever. And then my mom tells the story where it was right after I was born, and my mom was like, we're going to go away now, right? Like, we're going to take all the kids. I guess I was like 9 months old or something like that. We're going to take the kids. We're going to go somewhere. And then when we come back, you're going to be real estate full time, because he was part time like he was doing the odd jobs and painting and crap like that. My mom says, you're going to go full time and you're going to not fuck this up, basically. And that's what happened.
I love that.
Yeah.
Does he agree with that version of the story?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a great question, by the way. If my mom tells a story, you got to fact check it. But no, it
feels on brand for your mom. Though.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it's accurate.
Okay, so 15 years ago, you had a vision of where you would be. Is this it?
No, not at all.
Paint the picture.
15 years ago, I probably thought I was going to be selling real estate and just, doing day-to-day realtor activities, and that was it.
Because doing a team, like you're running a team now, and running a team now is entirely different than selling day to day.
100%. So, and it definitely has its pros and cons, but I had no idea I'd be running a team. Not a goddamn clue.
So what are teams like? Because people don't realize this. What are teams in? Because I know I've been around you for the last ever.
Okay, so you answer it. No, I'm kidding.
No, but so I know that teams are different in the U.S.
Yeah.
Versus teams are newish to Canada.
Yeah,
Quebec,
newish
Montreal,
for sure, especially in Quebec. Well, as with pretty much everything that makes its way to Canada, obviously Quebec's the last place anything ever goes, because it's, it's French, it's different. Don't tell me what to do is typically the French attitude. And so a team is essentially, the concept is, if I'm going to pay for it myself, why wouldn't I pay for it for a group of people and we can all kind of collectively save money? It's the idea that we hire one administrator. I handle the hiring and firing and the HR, and I do all of the business related stuff for running this, but all of the agents that affiliate themselves with me under my team, they get to reap all the benefits of that, but they don't have to reap any of the negatives of that. So they can have a full-time administrator. They can have a sign runner. They can have they can have leads delivered to them. They can have a CRM that's bought and paid for. They can have an auto dialer that's bought and paid for. And everything gets given to them in exchange for a cut of their income. The idea for us is we want to be giving more than we receive. So I want to be able to feed them more business than they end up, having to split to the team. That's our goal. If it's profitable, great, stick around. If it's not for you, that's fine. It's not for everybody, and that's totally cool. But yeah, that's kind of at the base. That's what a team is. You add icing to the cake by saying, okay, I'm going to meet with you once a week. I'm going to coach you. I'm going to help you grow. I'm going to give you training. I'm going to really be a mentor to you.
Is that unique to your team and your model?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say so. I think a lot of people will say that they offer that, but I would challenge them to ask them how many trainings they do per week. I would ask them if they do a team meeting every single week.
Have your metrics improved?
Yes, metrics. Are they tracking? Are they displaying those metrics on some kind of board in the office? Likely no. Are they doing getaways? Are they doing team culture building things and all that kind of, whatever stuff that is necessary? Likely no. Most people in Quebec don't run a very fair team. There's people that have leads come in and they only give it to their favorite people. Leads on my team, they come in, they get distributed evenly. It's a round robin. It's a day by day thing. It's not there's no favoritism whatsoever. And I'm always a lot of people ask me, even people that I coach to get them to the level where they can step out of production and run a team, say, well, what do you do every day? I'm like, I'm research and development. That's my job now. My job is R&D. I'm always looking for the next thing. What is the next way of getting better quality leads, getting better quality systems, getting tighter? We use the term crispy on the team. I don't know why, but if the system's really, really, really nice, we say that it's a really crispy system. Yeah. So it just means everything's freaking tight the whole way down. Everything's automated. Everything makes sense. Everything just works. So that's kind of my job day to day now, is I'm just R&D for that business.
And you're so good at it. You're it's one of the things I will compliment Logan on is he's friggin'.
That's it, though.
That's the one thing.
That's the one. No, Logan is so good at like when he puts his mind to something, he'll dial in and make sure it gets done. So if that's what you're focused on is your R&D, like it is the one thing. Like we were just here before you came here. He was showing me all these AI stuff that he's working on the computer, and I'm just like, how do you know this? Like where if you were to dial in your skill, like how do you think you like? How did you get there? Like, what did you?
I think a general necessity is the mother of invention. So if you want to get something done, you just have to kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
And like throwing back to the last podcast we did, I feel like Sam and I share a lot of attributes where it's like we have to be everything.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, especially in as a real estate team leader, it's like you have to be the CEO, you have to be the CFO, you have to be the head of HR. I'm bad at that, by the way. But I say swigging a beer.
When you said HR before, I was like, maybe I can pop in and out here.
But yeah, no, you kind of have to wear all the hats, and in this case, I got to wear the hat of, a techie nerd guy that needs to dive into systems sometimes and understand all the different things. And like, I credit the people around me so much to opening my eyes to things. Like, I would have sit downs with Yamin, and him and I would talk about leading indicators to try and open, because man, holy crap, Quebec and real estate in general is always years behind most companies and most industries in terms of being able to make smart decisions from like a lead acquisition and a conversion standpoint.
Yeah.
They're always years behind. So if I'm grabbing shit from what I'm learning from just sitting down with people like Yamin and people like Sam, I'm like, oh crap, if I can implement 10% of this, I'll be 300% ahead of everyone else.
Is that partly why you embedded yourself into the US market as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. I think maybe not consciously right away, but it was fast how much I learned how far ahead they were. It was fast. So when I met Jeff, my mentor there, I saw the way he was running his team, and I was like, nobody is doing that here. 0 human beings are running an organization like that up here. And teams really in general were the product of agencies over-promising and under-delivering. And in Quebec, if you notice, we're all called brokers now. Did you guys realize that?
No, I thought you were always called brokers.
No,
Yeah.
so
Okay,
we
cool.
used to be called agents. So you've obviously heard the term real estate agent, right? I'm a real estate agent. Now
you're a broker.
In Quebec, we're all real estate brokers. The reason for that is because we all individually now pay our own errors and omissions insurance. So if we screw up on paperwork, it falls on us individually. Our deductible is on us individually. Whereas before, when we were agents, it fell on the agency.
Okay.
So back then, there was a lot of value to joining a brand like the Balloon brand. I don't know if I'm allowed to say their names, but like the Balloon brand or the Red brand that's only in Canada. All these kind of bigger brands. There was value to joining those because they went through a proper hiring process to select you.
Reduced your liability.
And they didn't just pick anybody. So the public thought, okay, if I went with this person, I'm likely getting somebody somewhat professional. Whereas if you went just with some Joe Schmo at some random agency, you're like, well, I don't know about that. Now, because we're all brokers,
he's doing some shady stuff under the table.
It doesn't. Yeah, that was the fear, right?
Yeah.
But now, because we're all brokers, it doesn't matter.
Everyone.
When did that change? When did that? Because this is like
probably
is this
like
a month
18,
ago.
No, it's like 18 years ago or something.
I don't know. Is this
18 years?
Yeah.
Well,
before I got into it.
how would we know the difference of 18 years?
You
and
guys
now?
wouldn't, but
Okay,
the people that I typically work with who are middle-aged, they do remember that, right? But yeah, no, it's pretty wild. So like when I was actively selling, I would get the objection of like, well, I'm a little more comfortable working with somebody from Remax. And I said it, fuck it. Sorry. And,
Whoops.
Whoops. And
much
so
effort.
what I would say is I'd say, okay, well, I'll tell you what, we'll put a pause on this meeting. Tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, I'm going to drive to the Remax in Kirkland and I'm going to join them. And I'm going to pop by again, same time around 1 p.m. Tomorrow, and then we'll sign up the listing. Does that sound good? And they'd look at me like, what? And I'm like, okay. And so they'd look at me crazy, and I'd say, well, the reason why you're looking at me crazy is because I could do that if I wanted to. Remax would hire anyone. Royal LePage would hire anyone. All these places would hire anybody that walks in. There's no vetting process anymore, realistically. They're going to take anybody with a heartbeat. So you selecting somebody that's by brand is probably not the best move. Am I the right person to sell your property? If I am, great, let's move forward.
Yeah.
If I'm not, no hard feelings, man. Let's just shake hands and move on. But it's not about the brand. Well, let's both just, get on the same page here.
Interesting though, eh? Like
And
now do you find like with bringing in teams here and like how, or at least like locally, like real estate has become like a really sexy thing with teams and like galas and all this sort of.
I think real estate has become a sexy thing because of like selling Sunset. Like how many?
Yeah, sure.
How many?
Not only player, fair enough.
How many of your agents that like the new agent is like ready to go to sell houses and go like out for lunch and out for dinner and be like, I'm selling the beautiful house.
So wait, what do you mean? Like how many of them do I think are in it for that?
Well, like you're saying it's like real estate became a sexy thing.
Yeah, but I'm asking like now, do people gravitate towards like a team or like a lifestyle versus going to one of the brands that's a little bit more like cut and dry?
I think it's an ego play most of the time. I think, and that's one of the reasons that we structured our team the way that it is. We used to be called Team Boyce back in the day. And we changed that because we didn't want anybody else feeling like they were just building up my last name. And when I chose to step out of production, I didn't want people asking for me. Mm-hmm. So that's why we changed our name to Montreal's Elite Real Estate Group. And, but yeah, I think people who are very much watching Selling Sunset and wanting that to be their life, they're going to actually not go team. They'll probably go solo. They'll pay the exorbitant fees at whatever agency that they choose to affiliate themselves with, and they'll think that they're going to make a bunch of money because they have a website, or they're going to make a bunch of money because they go to 3 networking events a year or something like that. The reality is real estate is not sexy at all. It's sexy in LA where the average price point is like, $2 million. It can be sexy there. I'm telling you right now, it is not sexy in Montreal. There's 5 real estate brokers in Montreal that I would consider to be like, and I don't mean physically looks wise sexy. I would say like sexy
HR department.
I'm reprimanded. No, I'm saying that there's probably 5 that actually do the type of real estate that you could televise and it would be on par with like a Selling Sunset or something. There's maybe 5 of them in all of Montreal. There's 16,000 realtors
hell.
in Quebec. There's 5 of them that I think would qualify for a show like that.
5 realtors?
Yeah.
Out of the 16,000?
Yeah, give or take.
Because of the price point of house they're selling, or
Yes.
because of the
and
volume?
location.
Okay.
And location, not volume.
No.
Volume never impressed me. So like in the first season of Selling Sunset, I don't remember what it was, but it was like,
Oh, yeah, I remember talking about this.
Yeah.
I love the hustlers that sell a lot of houses.
yeah.
I hate the ones that like just like cling on to one house and then every episode you have to watch.
Did you see that stat? I'm gay, but obviously you guys wouldn't have. But there's a stat that came out recently in the U.S. that something like 70% of realtors in 2023 sold 0 houses.
70%.
Something like, it was in the 60s maybe. In the 60% of realtors in 2023 sold 0 houses.
They were all just watching Selling Sunset.
Yes.
No, but how, like, so if you were to extrapolate, because I don't know how many real estate agents there are in the U.S. versus in Canada. I'm assuming there's a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
Out of, because you always talk about new agents joining and then like their success rate and how quick they quit. Like
Yeah.
you have someone that's really motivated out of
Yeah.
school. They don't realize that real estate is not sexy,
Right.
Because everyone thinks it is, and then they drop it within a year. It's
Yes.
that classic like you're a young person, you're like, oh, this is gonna be money quick, it's gonna be beautiful, and it's not.
Yeah.
So I guess my question, Sam's really better than me at asking like actual questions. Like she's like, I'm like, what's my question here, Bruce? So my question is, I guess, is like, what if there's 16,000 agents in Canada? How many of those do you think are
Quebec.
in Quebec? Sorry, Quebec,
Yeah.
not even Canada. Fuck. Quebec. How many of those are actually working?
Yeah, good question.
So
Active.
in
Active
Canada,
real estate
the
agents.
last stat that I read was that the average amount of sales done by a realtor in Canada was under 4 per year.
Yeah.
Average.
So how are people making a living, making their money? How do you convince the young people to stay with it? Like, how do you show them that the team? Now I'm just rattling off like 18 questions.
No,
but
I got you.
Like,
though. Your bigger question is just about motivation.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the day, it's one of the reasons why I have a really hard time hiring people that still live at home. I have a really hard time hiring people with a part-time job, because those are two major safety nets that now the onus becomes on me as their mentor and coach to get them over that speed bump. That's really difficult. It's also everyone's got a financial thermostat.
Yeah.
So what are they comfortable making? You know, I'm not going to name names, but I've coached and have been a part of people's lives that are perfectly content making less than 50 grand a year.
Yeah.
They make 4 sales, 5 sales a year, every year, nonstop. And I know they're comfortable making it because they don't work any harder the next year to make more. Yeah. They're also, if they're not on track to do that, let's use an easier number, let's say 1 every 2 months, like it's 6. If they're not on track to do that, for some reason, they make 4 sales in the last 2 months of the year.
Yeah.
To make sure they hit their financial thermostat. It's too cold, they got to crank it up, they make it happen. So it's frustrating for a mentor and coach to be like, dude, you can do it. Why not just do that consistently? But it's very, very difficult for people to upgrade their financial thermostat. The only way that I know how is very, like, how can I say this? It's not ethical. It's you encourage, and it's the oldest sales manager trick in the book, which is to encourage people to get into debt.
And
I've never heard this.
I've
seen some of his trainings where he's telling them like, spend your money, buy the Rolex.
So you have to be very careful. I swear to God, you have to be very, very careful. So you can't do this to the person that's perfectly comfortable making $40,000, $50,000 a year. You can't do that because you could ruin them, right? But when you see somebody and they've got potential, you know they can do it, but for some reason they're just being a little bitch, right? For whatever reason. If you push them a little bit, go lease a new car.
Like, go feel what it's like to spend that money?
Not feel like, just get the pressure, because you're focusing on the carrot. I'm talking about the stick.
Okay.
So it's like, go lease the more expensive car. Go rent the more expensive apartment, right? And then feel that pain that's coming at the end of the month every single month.
Yikes.
And then they have to pick up the phone. Then they have to make more sales. It's a really unethical way of increasing somebody's financial thermostat. But if you encounter somebody that's really got the fire in them, you could change their life by doing that. And I've done that with a few people that I've mentored and coached over the years, but you have to be incredibly selective.
Did you give them a disclaimer ahead of time?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. It was like a super high risk, high reward type of thing, because actually it's probably low reward.
I was going to say, I'm not sure
never,
it's a high
like
reward.
They're living their life now. They probably have no idea that I had a hand in skyrocketing them there. But it's a thankless job.
Well, you
I swear, man, being a coach and mentor is the most thankless job in the world.
Especially like on consignment, like you're doing right now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like there's the version where it's like a subscription where someone's paying you $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
And you give as much as you want. There's no, like, you're giving without the assurance that you're getting.
Yeah.
It's very similar to like financial advice when people are like, oh, tell me your like tip, tell me your like how you do this.
Yeah.
Like there's no upside. Like the upside is that you're gonna be right. They're not gonna say thank you, and then at the end of the day, like if you're wrong, they're gonna be like, oh, this is your fault.
Yeah.
Like that's it's
like you're a jackass.
Thanks for thanks for telling me to buy that penny stock.
Thanks for telling me to bet on that UFC fighter.
That's a story. Who
did you bet on?
I'm just saying, it's like there is no, like, it's the same thing where you're like, okay, go into this line of work, but even with real estate, like you're like coaxing people to like go do that. If it doesn't work out for them, they're like, oh, that guy was a dick.
Yeah, it's expensive here too. It's crazy. I hear in the States, like you can get licensed to sell real estate in like 2-3 weeks in the United States.
How long does it take here?
6 months.
Well, okay, so you got to be somewhat committed.
Yeah, you have to commit for 6 months, and you got to have money too. It costs probably about average maybe $5-6 grand to get started. It's not nothing for a lot of people.
Yeah,
you know. But it is not a sexy job. Like, let's be super clear. It can be.
Stares at the camera. Like, it is not sexy.
Not.
So when I tell people that like that it's not sexy because everyone's like, oh, real estate, you do cool things, like
Yeah.
it is sexy. I often tell them like it's a call center, like in terms of like how it's all about lead gen.
Yep.
It's a call center, and you sort of explain this in terms of your team, that's where you're trying to add value by giving them those leads. Is that how you would explain it too?
When I interview people, I tell them the first 2 years in real estate, you're a telemarketer.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an inside sales associate making calls in the mornings, and you're an outside sales associate in the afternoons if you've booked appointments, if you're good at your job. Half your job becomes outside sales, but most of the time you're inside sales.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to get good, because here's the thing. There's so many benefits of being good on the phone. You can create something from nothing, which is so powerful. And it's one of the things I love about the training and the coaching that I've received over the years is I don't really see a universe where I'd ever be extremely like gun to my head, stressed about money. Because in a worst case scenario, if I was really backed up against the wall, really backed up, like lots of trouble, I could pick up the phone.
Yeah, so Logan, as much as we like you just talked about like telling people to spend money, Logan implements 2 things in his life, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah, I can't wait.
But number one is I think you do this to yourself a little bit too. Is you're the first one to put yourself in like spend the money, go buy the thing.
I'm a
buy
carriage
the car.
before the horse guy, big time.
But then I forget who it was that one of your dad's friends there's always money out there. And you just have to go get it.
Yeah.
And for you, that's picking up the phone.
Yeah.
And I do find that I can't live the way where you're like putting yourself in that much debt. I don't know. Like,
Me neither. No,
I'm just like
so timid.
Like,
sissies.
You would just like see like we can put ourselves in debt, and as long as I see the end result, like the exit plan. But if I don't see the exit plan, I'm like my risk here is super fucking high. And that's where like you're able to put yourself and sometimes not necessarily see the horizon or see like you just know that you can pick up the phone.
Yeah.
And I have like uber respect for that. That's fucking
thanks,
like,
man.
That's ballsy.
It is. It took me 15 years. It took me to have the money in my bank to reach back out to you. I was like, okay, now I can be friends with Logan.
What?
It's true. I didn't talk to Logan for like 15 years after high school.
Why?
I don't know. And then one day I was like, oh no, I could play ball with Logan now. Like it was like a conscious.
Can I tell you a story?
And
I think I've told you the story, but I'd like the story to be recorded because I think it's really cool.
I'm nervous now.
And now we're interviewing Sam.
Yeah, now the tables have turned.
I have many questions
lady.
about this.
There's certain moments. And you guys ever seen the movie Inside Out with the emotions or whatever?
Yeah.
You know the concept of the core memories? I really like that concept. I think it's really funny because I do have a lot of core memories that I don't think will ever be removed from my brain. Like I'll be 90 years old drooling on myself and I'll still have this memory probably. But I remember for some reason, I think it was when you got back from Ecuador or something, we were chilling in your basement and we took a photo together. It was me, you, and Malcolm, I think. It might have been Bruce, but I think it was Malcolm. And we took a photo, and I don't remember why, but we were looking at the photo afterwards, and you looked at it with your mom, and then we looked at it together afterwards. And I don't remember if it was right there, but I remember the photo being like very tied to this memory. But your mom said that Logan is going to be the first millionaire friend that you have.
Yeah, she and I don't know if it's true, but she does think you are.
Yeah.
And she said I was right.
Yeah. She would have been right to an extent, but I think Bruce beat me.
Nice.
But yeah, that was probably one of the most motivating moments of probably my whole life.
Oh.
So if you could give your mom a big hug and kiss for me.
She'll probably listen to this.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I hope you are, Diane. I love you. That was really, really awesome. So that fired me up. That fired me up for years.
I love that.
And now we got to have her on the podcast.
That's it. Let's go, Diane. Let's have you on here.
Go back to the 15 years of like after high school.
I don't know what it was. It wasn't like during those 15 years where I was like, we're not friends, but we were like not.
Yeah.
And then one day I drove past here and I thought, you know what? Like, I think I do have something to like talk about with Logan that I maybe didn't feel that I did 5 years or 10 years before that.
Yeah.
But it is this like aura of success, whether real or not at the time, who knows?
Who knows?
Like
Definitely.
that I was like, oh no, like I like now feel that I can sit at that table and like have a conversation,
Oh my
which is so
goodness,
funny.
that's-
And I like slid into the DMs and was like, hey, you want to be friends again?
Our kids go to the same daycare.
Well, I remember like we'd go, and we're going back like 10 years now, but like after high school, everyone went their own sort of different ways. And you worked at the restaurant, bar, club, and we'd run into you there, and we'd say hello.
Yeah.
But we didn't have, like, obviously you were working, so we couldn't, like, shoot the shit and have, like, make Sam do all the shots. But, like...
I could have done all the shots.
You could have done all the shots.
Yeah. That place was like...
There were some people there that did do all the shots. I remember some people falling down who worked there. I'm not going to name any names.
Shots of all sorts of things.
Yikes.
But yeah, you guys...
But yeah, we weren't, like, close. Like, it didn't seem
it was
as...
weird.
It was weird. Like, we didn't seem as close as... Like, we were pretty friggin' close in high school, so it didn't necessarily seem as close as we were.
Yeah.
And you think it was because of, like, you...
I have no idea what it was.
You don't know?
No.
But no.
It's probably me.
It could be.
I always assume it's me.
It could be us. I don't know.
That story blows my mind because I remember when you reached out to me and you're like, hey, we should, like, grab lunch sometime. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's grab lunch sometime.
No hesitation.
So we went and grabbed lunch, and I swear to God, I did not enter that with the clout that you gave me.
Yeah.
Because I entered that being like, I can't wait to learn shit from Sam. She's doing all this dope shit. I cannot wait.
Different, though. So different.
So
and it took so long to build it up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so
also, like, a little bit after high school, like, I worked a lot of jobs to pay for university to, like, get into work and then work, like, crazy hours all the time.
How much do you think? I need to pivot here. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, go.
How do you think your university education helped you with your career path?
I'm only mad at the 15 years here that we lost. That's all that I'm.
That's some
all,
bullshit,
That's
dude.
what I'm. I don't want to go deep on it, but that's what I'm like.
I don't think there's,
we
like,
do that,
real reason.
it's
It's
okay.
crummy, but
It's fine.
we're here now. It's good.
Yeah, we're here now. We're
Yeah, long form podcasting.
Long form podcasting.
I do think whether like right place, right time, like that degree was required for the first job in the agency.
Gotcha.
What's your
Like
degree in?
psychology.
Oh.
I have a degree in psychology and English lit,
Okay.
which is very different than anything I do.
Two
but
seemingly very employable degrees.
nothing at all. The only prerequisite for this job was a degree.
A degree. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
A degree, and funny enough, like non-profit work, where like when I asked my manager at the time, like, why did I get this job? It was like, you made it through university, which sucks, and you volunteered.
Where did you volunteer?
At that time, I was working with a group that did a lot of different type of volunteering. It was Live for the Cause. It was like, why can't I think of the word? Anyways, it was like a group of 15 of us that did a fundraiser a month for all different associations.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was kind
So
of...
kinda.
I think it was the foot in the door.
Right.
But even now, it's so stupid. Like, when you look for jobs, even at this level, I'm like 15 years under my belt of leading in startups. And it's still like, okay, you're ready to go like be a VP somewhere else. It's like, do you have any degree at all? And you're like, okay, but like at a certain point, like
Yeah, my work, like my last 15 years must count for
Yeah.
something.
it has to count for more than that. It's
Right.
almost like they forget to, it's the copy pasting. Like someone's got to write it from scratch and not copy paste a job description on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I think is probably the real problem. Actually, now it's like ChatGPT has written every job description on the internet. And the hiring manager doesn't even know what it says. Like, I qualify for this job because of blah, blah, blah. And they're like, what are you talking about?
It's
I was
true.
like, that was on the job description, man. Like, I don't know.
Or maybe they're just having ChatGPT read the job description, write a letter of intent based on this job description.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, and you can see like, cause the formatting of ChatGPT is so consistent.
Yeah.
And people who don't use it often aren't like, okay, let me just at the very least put like some human touch on this. They're
Some
like
kind of spin.
the double square. Let me put this into the internet.
Yikes. Well,
But yeah. Are you interviewing a lot of new folks for your team?
we brought on 2 people this week. We brought
That's a
on 2
lot.
people. Yeah, we go through like little phases where we bring people in. Obviously,
What's
the
your,
goal
like,
is
max of how many people you could actually coach, genuinely coach properly?
so we got good people now who help with that. So I've got Severo who runs one-on-ones for lead conversion best practices, so I don't have to go over people's CRMs. I got Stylianos who goes out and does the appointments with them and helps close, because his closing rate is like ridiculous. 47% of his appointments he closes. That's like unheard of. The industry standard is like 20. He's doing 47. It's like he's a monster. He's an absolute savage monster beast. So we got good people. So I think we could probably handle like 35, maybe even 40. But it's like, do you want to get that big for this business? I don't know. I feel like the sweet spot is 25 and they all produce decently. Like not everyone has to be a rock star. That's not the name of the game. There's always, the bottom 20, the top 20 and whatever it is, percentage wise. But yeah, I think the sweet spot is somewhere between 25 and 30 and they're all relatively decent producers. Like there's nobody on the team in a perfect scenario that's closing less than like 8 to 10, let's say.
Is the limiting factor leads?
Work ethic. We have 40,000 person database. If somebody wanted to just spend all day ripping that database and make $250,000 this year, they could absolutely do that.
Interesting.
But you'd have to have no life.
Yeah.
So when I'm telling people that I had a year where I did over 70 transactions, I didn't have a life. I had no life. I didn't have an administrator. I was doing it all myself. The majority of them were expired listings. It was just insane, like an insane grind. Like a grind like you would never ever wish that on your worst enemy.
But that's like how you learn
possible.
the ins and outs of everything.
Exactly. And it also shows you the need for somebody like Alex, who's our head of administration, who handles all that stuff. So when I'm interviewing a new agent, I'm like, you're not going to care so much about the administrative support now. But once you start putting together 6, 10, 15, 20 deals, you're going to thank your lucky stars that you have somebody like Alex in your corner managing all of your stuff.
Well, and she knows how to do it well and efficiently. So
yeah, she's been with us for so long, and she's got ownership in the company now, which is super cool.
Sick.
Yeah.
Even the sign running, like you're not going, if you're doing 70 listings, like you'd have to go and do 70 signs.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
70 signs.
Well, thank God not very many of them, like not all of them were listings, but a lot of them were. So yeah, it was pretty freaking brutal.
What do you think what do you think the future of real estate looks like? Like I know it's a broad question, but because teams are new here, but you have the Duproprios of the world. You have all these houses that are selling. Like the average price point in Montreal is over $800,000. So the commissions that people are paying are huge.
Huge.
What's the future of real estate in Montreal, Quebec, Canada,
that's a huge
US?
question. Jesus, Lord of mercy.
At least it was a clear
You
question.
can't declare yourself head of R&D and then not have an answer.
So I've got to. Here's the thing. Truth be told, I don't have an answer. I have some ideas.
Yes.
I have some theories. Now, whether they'll come to pass, I don't know. I think history has taught us, and because the internet's been around long enough, where the need for somebody in your corner seems still pretty legit. And the whole for sale by owner thing, we know that's not right. We know that doesn't work. And the reason we know that factually is because I have horror stories on both sides of the spectrum. So when I was in production, I did a lot of work with for sale by owners. And if I was working with a seller, they would describe me situations of buyers with fake pre-approvals. They accepted their offer. They got declined for financing. And it was just to get the offer accepted or to, whatever. This was when the back hot market, not 2020 hot market, the hot market before that. And people just writing offers with no pre-approval, but promising that they're good and blah, 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 getting accepted, failing financing. Or they get accepted, they get an inspection, the buyer's a moron, doesn't understand that they're buying a 1963 property in Point Claire. Yes, there's going to be some problems. Not all the freaking wires are going to be grounded. There's going to be things, and they don't understand, so they walk away from the property because they weren't properly educated and weren't properly guided. So that's one problem. The worst problem is as a buyer. If you're not governed by certain laws and regulations as a seller, the ability to let's say you guys were both buyers for my property. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, if you guys did both write me an offer and I was a broker representing the sale of my property, I'd have to say, Bruce, just to let you know, I just received a second offer and it's from another person. Just want to let you know. And if you'd like to enhance, feel free to enhance. If you want to stay where you are, feel free to stay where you are. No worries, no pressure. Okay. As a for sale by owner, without any restrictions or governing bodies, I get one offer from Bruce. You don't exist in this hypothetical. I say, Bruce, I just got 3 other offers. You better enhance right now, or I'm not going to take your offer. In a fire market, you've overpriced your property. Somebody's bidding on hype. The banks are barely appraising properties because everything's going into 9-10 offers, so it's pointless to even appraise. It's incredibly dishonest and super, super screwed up. So without any kind, aside from somebody's moral conscience, which obviously doesn't mean much these days, it's the ability to do that makes it really, really screwed up. Yeah. So we know that the for sale by owner thing is not going to be the way it goes. I think there's going to be kind of a hybrid of people are going to be able to list the property themselves. They're going to have somebody assigned to them. The buyers are going to be able to have some kind of online version of the showing because those 3D tours are just getting better and better. Yeah. There was a guy that I met in the States that had a model where you were able to virtually tour properties to the point where if you moved your head, it would track you around the property with your head movements. It was absolutely bonkers.
Are people able to edit like let's say there was a hole in the wall on those virtual edits?
No,
you can't edit.
No, not on this one. I mean, maybe in the future, and I think that could pose a new set of problems. But I think probably in general, what's going to happen is short term, it's going to be all what's going on with Zillow, which is everybody goes to one place. They all look for the properties, whether it's for sale by owner or not. And then they book their visits. Their visits are funneled to whichever agent's paying the most amount of money for that lead or whatever. And that's the short term. The long term is eventually everybody posts it themselves. They're paying a fee to whatever company. Yeah. And the buyers are either represented or not. They're going to hop online and do what they need to do. And if they have a representation, they'll check a box saying I have proper representation. They know that their offers, the seller is going to be notified that your net is going to be a little bit less because we have to pay their representation or something along those lines. That's kind of the longer term. But man, everything, especially in real estate, guys, things move so goddamn slow. So goddamn slow. And don't you know it?
I was going to say, do you know what happened with the notaries during COVID?
No.
So notaries during COVID, this is my favorite explanation of how slow real estate moves and how bureaucratic everything is. So during COVID, people were allowed to sign remotely at a notary. So you could do an e-sign.
Okay.
To actually, because
a DocuSign. You didn't have to go to the notary.
Yeah. So DocuSigns are not as secure. So the DocuSigns were not allowed. Okay. But they had their own system that they designed, and they thought, okay, this works. This is
we're allowed.
This is safe. Yeah. Right. So they did that. You had to get certified as a notary. But yeah, please continue.
Yeah. So you didn't. So as buyers, when you're buying a house for a flip, when you're buying a house just in general, so for someone who was going to the notary pretty often, it was amazing. We didn't have to go to the notary. You could literally sign from your pajamas and at home.
That's fantastic.
And they did it. They continued it for another year after COVID, and then all of a sudden they were like, nope, we're not gonna do this anymore. And we ask notaries, we're why? Yeah. What's the reason? At least have
the fees were the same. They could process more people in a day.
Yeah, they did way more people.
Way more people. They didn't need the office. They didn't need this.
Their business became more
so easy,
lucrative.
Lucrative, better.
And They didn't want to stick to it. I guess their association is pretty strong too, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we asked them, we were like, so why, like, at least have a hybrid model where people that want to go sign in person, like
Sure.
the 60, 50, 80, whatever it is, year old person that doesn't know how to, I'm sorry if it's ageism, but that isn't good, even the 30-year-old that isn't good with technology and wants to sign in person,
Yeah.
like we're saying, like, let them sign in person,
Yeah.
but then have the option to sign remotely. And I don't know if it was like, I don't know if the real reason was because notaries were coming from like all over the place, because it meant you didn't have to necessarily be in Montreal or be in Quebec. You could be you could get certified and be somewhere else. They didn't say that was the reason.
Interesting.
Like
Maybe.
all of a sudden you're losing.
And I wonder too, like if you didn't have to give business to your local notary and,
Right.
and you found someone who you like to work with that was based out in Quebec City or whatever, like if
Yeah.
the localization like
That for sure played.
ruined.
But the answer that we got was like, because we were like, is there like a ton of fraud happening that we don't know? And they were they were like, no, not that we know of, but they were like, it's the experience. We want people to come in. You're buying this $500,000, $600,000, $800,000. Have the experience of being there, sitting at this table.
You went to law school
I'm
to
like-
make an experience in a strip mall. Like this is
Yeah.
literally where notaries are set up in like these bleak offices.
Literally. So it's not even that like the real estate is slow. It's that we made this like huge, beautiful leap forward of technology, and they were like,
Panic.
nah, bring it back. Bring it
It's
back.
crazy.
We want
Too much
we
progress,
want to see you in
guys.
person. And so now the worst part is now we go to the notary, and they have.
Oh God, don't even.
I know I'm gonna go there. So now we go to the notary, and because at home you could sign on your computer, you could sign on
Yeah.
your phone. So they have this beautiful television set up, and they say we're gonna do an e-sign. Like you're not even.
You're still
signing.
doing the e-sign, Sam.
You're
Because
still-
it is more like they can file it easier.
Yep.
So you are still
But you have to be there.
That's how slow.
I think it's like they were like, whoa, all of a sudden notaries have to like offer these services. Like maybe it's not the people signing that are like pissed about the advancements. It's the notaries
Oh yeah,
themselves.
you can
like,
have notaries that like need to retire and they didn't know how to do all this, but then let them go. Like technology wins every time.
Or if it really is that customers want the experience, they'll find somebody that does in-house
I'm
signings.
sure everyone would be happy to
And-
offer both, but I'm sure like many of them lost a fuck ton of business.
Yeah, good.
Good.
Our notary was so brutal that like I'm like, yeah, definitely had no business.
Yeah,
If there's one takeaway from this podcast, that's it. It's like let the technology go, let it survive,
yeah,
bro.
dude.
We should talk a little bit about your guys' business together.
Oh, now we can be dual interviewed.
Oh, hello.
I,
The two cameras. I don't know how
How did
the
that
software
happen?
is going to work with that. That's going to be funny.
The two of me.
Yeah. You don't want to talk about meat first?
no, I,
All right. No. Yeah. Cool.
All right, okay,
well, it kind of segues well
It
into
does.
you
It
guys
does.
trying to get rid of the property
Okay.
that I really want.
Yeah.
Okay, talk about meat for like 2 minutes.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna, I'm gonna
first-
pour some wine.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna
I'll
pour
allow
some wine.
that.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So Bruce and I run a company that does property rehabs and long-term in real estate holdings. The wine's here, eh, bud?
I know.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, it's cool. It's a very lucrative business if you know who to get to do the work. Unfortunately, the market is extremely saturated so that we can basically not buy anything that's on the market, that's actively on the market, because there's too many people bidding on these properties that watched like 6 episodes of Homes on Homes. And they're like, we got this. It's going to be so easy. And they think it's going to cost, $40,000 to renovate a property. And there are situations where it does cost that. But what they're not factoring in is carrying costs, welcome tax, and welcome tax.
Yikes.
Oh my God. So most people that I speak to in the United States, I tell them about welcome tax and they're like, what are you talking
Are
about?
there welcome taxes on commercial properties as well?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, I believe so.
It's the shittiest name too for a tax.
Wait, do you know why?
No.
Oh.
Oh, actually, yes, I do. You have told me this.
Ah, damn.
Well, tell everyone else.
Oh, okay. The person who instituted, his last name is Bienvenue. So taxe de bienvenue.
Which for your American listeners
For all
means
of the
welcome.
Americans and Aussies and Irish blokes listening, it means welcome. So welcome tax.
Mr. Welcome.
Yeah. The worst.
Taxing over and over and over and over again.
Good Lord. But yeah, so when I speak to the American investors that I'm mentored by, I tell them about welcome tax and they're like, what are you talking about? There's only 2 states, I think, in the States that actually have a land transfer tax.
Okay.
Everywhere else, it's just you buy property. That's it. You might have to pay more for closing because typically buyer pays closing costs in the United States. But welcome tax is exclusive to Canada and especially Quebec, which makes it very difficult to turn a profit flipping property or investing in real estate unless you're going to hold it super long term, which when you're starting out and you're a kid, like we flipped our first property at 18 years old.
So nuts.
Like
your dad didn't tell you like pump the brakes? He never did that.
Dude, he would never do that. My dad would never tell me that because my dad's a G. Like,
did your parents
No,
freak out a bit?
No, my
not really.
my-
You'd be.
mom-
I'm surprised.
my mom was the one who co-signed the loan for that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, so it wasn't pump the brakes. It was
Go figure it out.
Go figure it out. Let him cook.
Yeah.
I think it's
It's weird how much more faith your parents had in you than any of the other siblings. No offense if they're watching,
Yikes.
well, I don't think they would have.
they know. They're very much aware that Bruce is the favorite.
No, Sean has kids now, so he's the
There you go.
he's the favorite.
Oh, there you go.
But
Yeah.
it was. Yeah,
It comes in seasons.
I also just don't. Cheers.
Cheers.
This is the summer of Sean.
Are we long formed yet?
Yeah, we're killing long form right now. I think all the conversation's been really good so far.
I'm really curious to track how far people listen into this, though. At what point they drop off. You want me to get rid of this?
I think just.
That's incredible.
That's really good. Yeah, put that
Hope
over
it wasn't something special that Ev bought for.
I think it might have been.
Yeah?
I think so.
Thanks, Ev.
Thanks, Ev.
Thanks, Evan.
Wow, damn, that's really
That's
good.
really good.
Fun.
Love it. God, so good.
Yeah, my mom co-signed the first loan for us, and we're talking. My mom's a teacher, and my dad worked for the city forever, and so like the reason Logan says that is because we often talk about like how people are brought up and the risk they're willing to take.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I would say my mom, like we presented her this business opportunity type of thing and said like was our like I guess we didn't really present much to her. I think
We're just kind of like we're doing this.
We're doing this.
Let's do this. Like get excited. Like let's go. But no, she's been amazing, man. Honestly,
I put down the down payment. Like I put down the down payment for it, but she co-signed because no bank was gonna like. We were two 18-year-olds. Like we went to a traditional bank and we're like
they laughed.
They laughed us out.
Like, please give us a mortgage, sweet
Meanwhile-
sir.
Yeah, exactly, literally. Okay. We're gonna backtrack here if we're going down this story. So our first property was in Valois.
Okay.
Probably pretty close to where you are.
Yeah.
It was on King Street. Logan had just got his real estate license, or pretty like soon.
It was
like,
very soon after.
And there's this house that goes on the market, and I can tell you it was listed for $250 at that price. And Logan says, Bruce, this is a pretty good deal. We should flip it.
Yep.
And I had some money for a down payment, and I was like, okay, let's go.
Cash
Was
as we can
it
get it, but
harder than you thought it was going to be to flip it?
not that one.
Not that
No,
one.
that was the
Not
first
that one.
No, that was our.
It cost us nothing to flip that property back then
Why?
because everything was so cheap.
We bought a kitchen.
to say-
Bro, we spent
Let's see.
like $2,200 on that kitchen.
On the kitchen we
What
spent.
year was this?
We're going back
God,
for 18.
17 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, no, it had to have been 15 years ago. I was 20, so we weren't 18.
Yeah,
I was 19, turning 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was 15 years ago.
The calendar year would be 2000 and you guys can
2010.
10.
Yes, 2010. I did it.
Okay,
I
so
did
a
it.
kitchen
I did it.
cost
I got there.
He did it.
$2,200.
It was $2,200 for the cabinets, and it was not cheap shit. Like it was good cabinets. It was not like assemble it yourself IKEA crap. It was like pre-made, already boxed up, ready to just get screwed into the wall. Like good quality kitchen.
To the point where I know this house sold a year ago, and it had the same kitchen that we put in,
Oh,
and
shit.
it still holds up to like today's style, more or less, of
Nice.
renovation. And it sold, like, obviously the housing market has gone crazy.
Of course, yeah.
But it sold for like I think we sold it for
No, we sold it for $345.
$345, and it sold for $800.
Nuts.
Like,
Insane.
literally less than 10 years later.
This is why we've kind of gravitated towards wanting to hold more properties.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
every single time we see it sell later on, we're like, why did we sell it?
Oh, you're saying buy it, flip it, and then rent it?
Yeah. But the problem is it's difficult to do that with single family homes.
Really?
Yeah, because you don't command the rent to be able to cover the mortgage most of the time.
Okay. Even in like the neighborhoods around here,
Yeah.
it's tough to rent.
Yeah, it's tough.
Everyone wants to own, no matter the bullshit costs and the
Yeah,
mortgage
I mean,
rates
like my
and all
dad
of
has
that.
some properties, like single family homes that he rents out. But like if he were to buy them in today's market and rent them out for what he's getting rent wise now, no
Not
chance.
doable.
Not doable. No ROI. We're talking like, cap rates of 3, 2.8.
You just get wrecked.
Just get wrecked.
So the trend. So that was the first purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First flip. You sold it like almost immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it your first sale?
No, it was not my first sale. But it was one of the most nerve wracking.
Because
So-
you had so much invested in it.
Yeah. And we were expecting multiple offers. We didn't get multiple offers. We only got one. So I had to make that one work. So at the time, you have to imagine like a 20-year-old trying to sell real estate
Yeah.
when I still live with my parents.
Well, they don't.
And it's
People
like,
don't have to know.
people
where
don't know
you're
that,
living.
but you know that, and your voice knows that, and your posture knows that,
Oh.
and like all that stuff, right? So the week before that open house, I go to Sears, when Sears was open, and I go to Sears and I go to the eyeglass section, and I get prescriptionless glasses,
I love this.
like rectangular, like prescriptionless glasses. And I did that with the sole purpose of aging myself like 3-4 years. I was like, if I can look like a 24-year-old, I thought that was like, oh my God, if I could look 24, that'd be sick. I'd feel so much more
What
confident.
I would do to look 24 right now.
I was at Bruce's parents' house negotiating this deal over the phone with my fake glasses on, because it was like the reverse Superman.
And
I didn't take the glasses
or
off.
you're like you're
I think
hyping it
I
up.
think we were like, we gotta do what we gotta do.
gotta do what we gotta do, dude.
Because I was like, yeah, you look 4 years older, man.
That's it. But no,
Let him cook.
let the man cook. It was the way I describe it all the time is like the reverse Superman. I put the glasses on to become Superman. I didn't take them off.
That's so funny. And these glasses now are on a mantle somewhere.
I don't know. They're in one of
propped
the
up.
drawers in my house
find
somewhere.
them. Come on.
You're not the first person to ask me to find them. I tried finding them because I was doing a training. I do trainings twice a week with the team, and we also broadcast it to anybody that subscribes to
That's nice.
ERS. And some gal, I don't remember from where, some gals from, I think like maybe it was Atlanta or something. They were like, yo, you got to bring in those glasses. Because I told that story at one point too. You got to bring in the glasses. I was like, okay, I'll try and find it. I couldn't find them.
Yeah. Gotta like
So-
put them in resin and like put them on like a shelf. Got you guys start.
So I can tell you why 20-year-olds shouldn't flip a house though.
Oh, do it. Yes.
Oh no.
Get ready to get smacked down, Malcolm.
I don't know if you know this.
Do you know this story?
I definitely don't, but I'm so nervous.
So a house is so $2,500 kitchen, amazing.
Yeah.
We bought quartz or like granite
countertops, yep.
for this. Like this is the style.
And you guys were like,
the-
ballin'.
So no, we bought granite countertops and we moved them there in the van where I was like holding them in the back of the van, like didn't have them delivered, like everything. Like this is like we did.
We're hands-on, dude.
We did specifically for this one because I had the down payment for it, but I didn't have the renovation money.
Okay.
So we did a loan to reno on this
Oh,
one.
that's right, yeah.
It was one of the first ones and pretty much the only one we ever did this for is what got us started, where you had to do 50%. So you asked for more money than the house was worth or more money than the mortgage.
Yep.
And then halfway through the renos, we had an inspector come in, give us half the money that they said, oh yeah, that looks like $80,000 of insulation, check.
Okay.
And they gave us $80,000 and
yeah.
then we finished the renovation. And then they came and inspected it and said, yeah, you finished the renovation. That's another $80,000, check. Here's the money. But then we have this house complete, renovations done, floors shining, and we had to live in it or own it for a year.
That's right.
To be our primary residence and be a non-taxable event,
Okay,
as most
understood.
accountants would
Yeah.
tell you. So we said, okay, do any of our friends want to live here?
Yeah. Do anyone want to live with us?
Anyone want to rent this?
Live with you?
Well,
live
with us.
With us.
With us.
With us.
Yeah.
Live with
You-
us.
Bruce lived there.
You were not moving out of the basement.
Bruce lived
I
there
lived
for
there.
sure.
You lived there.
I
Yeah.
lived there, definitely.
Absolutely.
You did not want
100%.
to move out of your parents' house.
I don't think I was on the title deed. I don't think I was on
think
title.
it was just me.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
I was on title. He was just on title.
Well,
So-
it sounds like an open invitation for live-in. I don't think you have to be on.
So do you want to rent a room?
So the earliest we could sell it, I think, was in March or something like that.
Yeah.
So January rolls around, and it's New Year's. And
No, it was Halloween. This was a Halloween party.
oh, okay. So the earliest we could sell it was February. Then I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was February or something.
So you are living
was-
there, and you're saying
totally was
to
Halloween
friends,
party.
We have Halloween
does anyone
party.
want to rent a room?
Anyone want to rent a room?
Rent a room, not
And-
come live for free.
Not come live for free.
Okay,
Like, so we
understood.
can make a little bit of extra income while
Love it.
we're
To hold it.
with
Yeah.
us. So Malcolm comes and he rents a room, and this was our pioneer days and our Halloween party. And Logan's birthdays are on Halloween every year, so we're at Pio and we're planning on throwing a party at this house that we've now renovated.
We didn't want to do it. Okay, Bruce and I did not want to throw this party. Malcolm was like, "We have to throw this party. It's going to be insane." And I was like, dude, we just finished the floors. It's a brand new kitchen. It's a brand new deck. It's a fresh coat of paint. Everything is new. We're not throwing a party. He's like, bro, don't worry. I got this. I'm going to go to Costco. I'm going to get all those little foam things that click together. We're going to protect the floor. My brother's going to DJ the whole night. It's going to be sick. And like, guys, it's not even going to be a big thing. We're not going to make a big thing of this.
My
But no, he says
stomach
this. He
is,
says
like, upside
he says
down
he
right
says
now.
it's not going to be a big thing. We're not going to make it a big thing. Everything's going to be fine, whatever. And so we're like, all right, whatever.
So
let's
literally,
just
the
do it.
whole house we clipped like foam flooring, clipped together the whole on top of our brand new polished flooring, so that it wouldn't wreck the floor.
Right.
Numbskulls.
We're at
What we didn't know was that in the weeks preceding the party, Malcolm created a Facebook event. This is when Facebook was the shit, right?
new.
He created an open Facebook event. Anybody who wants to come to this Halloween party in Point Claire, rock up.
The floors are covered with foam.
The floors were covered with
Covered
this
with foam.
like puzzle piece foam stuff. You know that stuff like when you
workout
set up
room.
like a home gym? Yeah, well said. Please
Yeah.
continue.
Workout room. And Malcolm had invited everyone and anyone had on Facebook and
That's right.
in person. I remember being specifically at Pio, where Malcolm was like, "Yeah, we're having a Halloween party. Come." And we had so many people there that when public security showed up, they couldn't drive up the street because there were so many cars and people parked all the way down.
In your brand new
In our
renovated.
Our
And-
brand
yeah,
new,
brand new
freshly renovated property.
So we were there and we were like Logan and I we're getting nervous and we're kicking, like the police have come, the public security's come. They're like, guys, this is like you're way too loud. You have to get like, so I'm like, go on in, go kick people out. Like, so
Like,
he's like,
please.
please
Help us.
Please intervene.
people showing up at the front door with bags of drugs being like, I'm here for the party. And I'm like
Allegedly.
And so we put our big friends at the front door being like, do we know you? And if we don't, you have to leave.
Shoutouts Travis Martin. Shoutouts Tom Sides.
Yeah. So we have these big guys at the front door telling people to leave. All they would do would they would leave and there was no fence. So they would just walk to the backyard.
Right.
And we have a brand new
deck.
in the backyard that was not built for
It was not on the ground floor, too.
It was
not
not
off
on
the kitchen. It was probably 5 or 6 feet elevated off the ground. Please continue.
It's not built for 200 people.
It is not.
It is not, but we've kicked out that many people to the point when the police are like, where are all these people coming from? We don't understand. Like, who threw this party? And I'm like, go in, kick people out. The whole deck, there were so many people on it, the whole deck collapsed.
Yup.
I had to use car jacks to jack the deck back up to then screw it back into the house. But the whole deck went like this. Like they were like people were the whole thing. They all jumped and it like just boom. And not like down.
Was that the day the tenant was evicted?
That's the day that the tenant will never forget because we have not let him live it down since.
No
This has
kidding.
been like 15 years and we still haven't let him live it down.
It was excellent.
It's
And
awesome.
we all had a great time.
Oh yeah, it was a great party.
Doesn't sound
like
fun.
no,
Nah, it was a fun party.
it was a fun,
It was pretty good.
It was a fun party. Like, and here we are, like 18, 19, 20, whatever, like 19, where a mother comes and like they're here. I'm here to pick up my child, and she's they're like, who's the owner of the house? And I'm just like,
That would be
What
me,
was
man.
this? What are we talking
I just
about?
remember some woman, like lady, coming to pick up their kid who was at our party.
Oh God, I feel awful now.
And she's
Jesus
like, I'm here to
Christ.
pick up my because like we're barely of age, and she's like, I'm here to pick up my child like from this Halloween party, and she's like,
Jesus Christ.
she's like, who owns this house? And I'm just
Mom
like,
needs to vet where her kid is going. This is not on you.
that's why I hope I said this story not thinking it was on me, but now you're making it sound like it's on me.
Jeez. No, it's definitely not on us. If anything, it's on Malcolm.
Yeah. But yeah, I literally told the police to go inside and kick out whoever they want. I was like, party's over. Go ahead, like go inside.
I feel like when we were growing up, though, that was the norm. Like you threw an open house and you had to call the cops on your own party because things just got far
too out of hand.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can remember like 2 or 3 times, like people being like, well, that's it. Time to call the cops.
Few too many people here.
Like you had some pretty good parties at your house.
Yeah, we did all right. I think probably my favorite was, you remember the summer and the winter party?
The summer and the winter party was excellent.
That was a banger.
That was a banger. But also when you guys, and I think we were a bit younger, when you played, like you had the band play in the kitchen.
Oh
like,
shit! Yeah, we called it Hell's Kitchen. That was
Oh.
crazy. Yeah.
What about when you used to wrestle in the backyard?
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah,
That's
that was
great.
good times.
Yeah,
But his parents knew about
my
that.
parents knew about the wrestling. That was all good. But
Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen
They
was my
didn't-
parents were gone to Australia.
Current house or the one on St. John's?
No, Bowling Green.
Okay.
Bowling Green.
Yeah, and so my parents were gone to Australia, and I created a Facebook event and invited people to a show because I had started a new band, and it was like, okay, we're gonna play this house party. It's gonna be insane, and it was totally freaking insane.
It was
And we set up the whole venue in like the main kitchen area, and it was insane. That was super sick. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. That was awesome.
Yeah, those are the two.
Limited damages too. I gotta say, like very limited
So
damages.
not open Facebook event. A little bit more curated.
It was a Facebook event, but it wasn't open.
Yeah,
It was like,
okay.
you got to know somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
But
gotta get-
I think the recap from his mom is like, is that my kitchen? That like,
That was so funny,
She
dude.
sees these photos of like literally 150 people like lifting people on top of each other, like, and she's like, "Oh, that kitchen looks familiar." No,
I
Maureen.
recognize those windows. Mom, I swear it's fine. You're getting dementia. Just relax. No, I'm kidding. No, she's good.
They were so nice about all your parties, though.
Yeah, they were pretty awesome. My mom and dad always had this idea that they'd prefer to have the shenanigans and the nefarious stuff happen under their roof.
Fair enough.
Because if it's like, you don't allow that to happen, the kids are going to go off and do it in the
Do
park
you
or some
remember
shit
in
like that.
high school when we used to party at your house, but we'd have like theater practice Saturday morning. So like Friday
Yeah.
nights we'd like party at your house.
Of course.
And then I'd roll up in the Toyota Echo and pick all you assholes
Classic
up,
car, dude. Classic car. Yeah, I
Like-
remember that.
race in, like honk the horn.
Yeah.
It's like 7:30 a.m. Everyone
dude.
like load in.
I remember Bruce sleeping during rehearsals because he'd be swimming at like 4:30 in the morning for swim practice.
Yeah.
And then he'd get to there, and Miss Chalmers was so cool that she'd be like, yeah, you go nap, it's fine. Like, I know you're going to know your lines,
Yeah,
you know?
you're a wonderful actor,
You're not
Bruce.
gonna. The school's
You're
not.
fine, Bruce.
You don't need it. You're not gonna. You're not good. You're not good here.
She was the best.
She was the goat, dude.
Literally,
the goat.
my mom says like Miss Chalmers is the one who like saved me in terms of
Aw.
like I wouldn't have done school anywhere else. Like it just wouldn't have worked.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Miss Chalmers was the one who like accepted this as like, if it's you going to sleep, she's like, okay, you go to.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was a really, really nice lady.
Malcolm's still in book club with her.
That's so cool.
That's so cute.
No, I love
My
that.
brother also talks about her all the time.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But really gives us a ton of credit for his acting career.
Yeah, because he would be a hockey player right now if it wasn't for.
He will listen to this. Yeah.
No, but I'm not right. He was playing. It was like a hockey jock when we like transformed him to
In grades at age 13.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, boys think they're hockey jocks at
Yeah.
age 13.
He always
Sean.
says it was us. It was our good times in improv. And
Yeah,
that's awesome.
We like,
That warms my heart.
yeah, we teacher assistant his grade 7 drama class. And he was
course.
like, oh, I'm bought in, guys.
Well, like no other school.
and now he makes a career of wearing wigs on TikTok.
And it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's good stuff.
It's really funny content.
Yeah. Should we plug him right now? What's his at?
Sean Colby, I think.
Spelt
SeanColby.
right.
He's going to for sure message me at one point and be like, that was wrong.
That's wrong. Now everyone's going to the wrong place.
Just search Sean Colby, Love is Blind.
Oh,
You'll
yeah,
find
it's just
him.
the
Yeah.
best stuff. This Love is Blind stuff is my favorite stuff too. That's awesome.
But there's no other like high school where like the drama kids were the cool kids. You know what I mean? Like the
We
drama.
were
kids.
not cool. You're gonna.
Are we
You
not-
were
we
gonna
weren't
say.
cool?
No. Okay, so being on the outside of the cool kids, I'll actually weigh in on this. What was cool about Rennie, when we were there at least, was that the drama department wasn't exclusively losers. Let's just put it that way. It was a melange of popular kids, drama kids, jocks, nerds, whatever. Because I don't know how Chalmers did this, but she made the idea of putting on a production and putting something else above you. She made that idea cool.
Yeah.
So like we were excited to put on a show and to do either improv or whether it was freaking Interesting Times or whatever we were doing, or the Taming of the Shrew or whatever whatever
sick.
things we did. Like we thought that idea, like putting something on, was cooler than like just hanging around and pretending that nothing mattered and whatever. And I think that's
It was
really
also
cool that she
neat
pulled that off.
the entire production was student run, like the behind the scene, like all of the like
Shout out to Matt Ward. My
the
dude.
lighting, the
Yep.
music.
Shout out to Tom Gatehouse.
Tom
Yeah.
Gatehouse. Sam just burst my bubble. You're not a cool kid. I'm like,
Yeah, you were never cool, Bruce.
He's like, drama
You never
was cool.
got
I was like,
accepted.
we were not cool.
It's okay, dude. I wasn't. Hey, I wasn't either. It's fine.
It was just us on Friday nights, no?
What's that?
There wasn't a lot of extra people invited to Friday night hangs. It was just us.
yeah, the cool kids.
Yeah.
A couple extra
You heard that?
girlfriends.
You heard that in my voice? Like, "Hey,
But you guys used to make me go pick up the extra girlfriends, like wherever they lived. Can you go pick up random girls?
I don't remember that. That sounds made up. My wife might listen to this. That sounds made up, Sam. I don't appreciate these allegations of womanizing that you're putting onto me.
I'm sure they were good girlfriends. I'm sure, but I always had to pick them up.
My favorite thing one of my favorite things about running a podcast is watching where the pauses happen.
Yeah.
It's always really, really, and I try so hard not to fill the pauses because I find them hilarious. So when you were just like, I'm sure they were really good girls. It was just so good,
Somebody
dude.
else jump in.
Please help me.
I don't want to name names.
No, so
I don't know names, which,
I do.
if that's any indication.
I would say though, a lot of people have asked me, and this sounds so boisterous, but a lot of people have asked me like, how did you get good at sales? And I'm not sure whether, because a lot of people have this belief that you either are born with the ability or you can train the ability. I think it's a combination of both. I think you do have to have like a built-in sort of somewhat extroverted personality to be able to have the proclivity to be in sales. But from then on, it's like, how do you add and grow the gift that you have? And I swear to God, I credit improv to 90% of my ability to sell.
But I would
Absolutely.
say that about business in general.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Because I also think like the sales thing is interesting, but there's a lot of different ways to make a sale. Like how you make a sale is different than how I make a sale.
Mm-hmm.
And I think and they will
Out of
yield.
curiosity.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Elaborate
Nope.
on that.
Just don't want to.
Can you though?
It would take me way longer to close a sale, and it has. Like, the sales that now I've spent the last few years doing are B2B, right?
Yeah.
These are like entirely like relationship building. It is not, there's not a pool of 100 people you could call, and if you call all 100, you increase your chances. Like, there's a few buyers on the other end. There's very few retailers that buy at certain volumes. Like, this is just like, you make nice and you make sure that your product stands, you know, ahead of the other products that they're looking at. But maybe the conversation at the end is different or the same, like the sale of the thing is the same, but like getting on the phone is different. And for me, it was just like, I have the ultimate patience. Like, closing Costco took 2 years, and I was like, fine with it. I was like, this will take 2 years. But if you aren't a jerk, or you don't make them feel uncomfortable, or you don't make them feel like they have to go outside of their process, like, October came around when they said they would call, they called, and like, it was fine.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But like, they remembered me, and they remembered that I was kind on the phone, and that I wasn't a jerk, and I wasn't pushy, and I wasn't trying to like make them change their, but it is a different type of sale. Like, B2B sales is a different beast.
I think if you were to pick up the phone in my industry and I was going to pick up the phone in your industry, we would do exactly what each other would do.
Interesting.
So what I mean by that is, I don't think I would apply the same type of sales that I would use in real estate if I picked up and did B2B.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't apply the same thing that you do to B2B if you picked up the phone and tried to sell real estate.
I don't even know what I would say. But yes, anyways, to get back to your point, like, sales, improv, I think in business, improv, like, just being able to navigate conversations that you want to plan where they're going to go and you don't get to. And just being like, okay, that like, you're going to have to adapt to the next thing pretty like fluidly was fine.
Yeah,
and
it all comes down to the ability to be able to think on your feet.
Yes.
And I'll call it problem solve.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
In improv, a lot of the time you have that time limit, and like, you need to know, like, you're getting to the end of it.
So true. Never thought of it like that.
So recently, in the boys group chat, I'm sorry, my body does things sometimes. Okay, so recently the boys group chat.
Did you have something to say right now?
I had some.
Are you sure?
Maybe. Maybe.
I didn't set you up for this.
So, recently in the boys group chat, there was a video on YouTube from way back in the day. This was before the Scala laws, before we got together as an improv team. This is when it was me and John captaining the B team. If you remember this. This was a year before the Scala laws. And
which was the name of our improv team.
Yeah, exactly. It was improv team stuff, right?
Who is going to listen to this?
what was crazy was I was rewatching the event, and I was watching, what was happening. I was watching who was doing what, and you've got different people that come out and do their different roles that they're good at doing and whatever. And Malcolm was the main character, and he did an awesome job. He had the big voice and did his whole thing or whatever. And John was playing more of a supporting role, and I was playing the antagonist of, the person who was set in his ways, and you didn't want to square dance that way and the whole thing or whatever. I don't know if you remember this scene, but
Logan's life position.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm always the antagonist for some reason. I don't know why I got that brand. It's so annoying. Anyway, we'll get into that after, I guess. But what was really funny was that now that you're talking about like when there's time limit, you have to that the thing has to resolve in a certain amount of time or you're in big trouble. I recognized that when John was trying to make too many jokes, and he was making too many jokes about Malcolm and blah, blah, blah. Dude, John is the funniest person we have in our friend group, far and away. Yeah. But he was just making too many jokes, and I had to just like, come on, man, we got to fucking move the story along. So I said, so you're saying I should challenge him? Like, just completely cut him off.
Like, cut him
off blatantly mid-scene. Be like, so you're saying I should challenge him? Like, so you're saying the stakes should go up here?
He had to end it.
Like, I heard the judge say 1 minute. So I'm like, dude, we got to get a move on here. So it's really funny because when I look back on that, I had a discussion with Bruce and I had a discussion with Mikey actually afterwards. I'm like, man, I feel like I was more of a hard ass leader back then. Like, I didn't care whose feelings I hurt to get the job done back then versus now. Have you guys felt that your leadership abilities have changed over the years? And I think mine has to do with being kicked out of my own band back in the high school days.
I was literally just going to bring that up.
But yeah, I think it has a lot to do with that.
Reluctantly, but I was going to bring it
No,
up
that's
because I
fine.
think it's like in the same category of like the improv team. It
Yeah.
was tough to be on your team, but like the ultimate goal was to
win. Yeah.
not have fun. Maybe fun was okay. It was
Wi-
a byproduct.
I had
Winning's
so
fun.
much. I had so much fun.
Winning's
I
fun,
think
dude.
we had a lot of fun. I roomed
Winning's
with your
fun.
mom because I was the only girl, so that was
Nice.
cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
She used to do my hair. It's cute. But like, I don't know.
Winning's fun.
Winning is fun.
Winning's fun, dude.
Yes, my leadership. But I think adapting more to you in high school.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
You?
A year into Costco, Sam's like, so that means you're just gonna go with us, right? You're gonna sell the product.
You'll 4x your volume this year? Yeah, cool.
Nice. What's that? 4x? No, Sam, 3x. So 6x. Got it.
Oh,
Got
okay,
it.
cool, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got that order.
Oh, I think I heard those numbers differently in October. It's an absurd sales tactic.
Oh my god.
Spend the money, get in the debt.
I don't think Bruce has changed much over the years in terms of
I was
his,
gonna say
his leadership ability.
role. I don't. Yeah, I
Maybe a little bit more communication, perhaps. You're kind of a little bit less in your own bubble. That's my observation
I think
a
I'm
little
still
bit.
in my own bubble. I think my leadership, if I had to look at like how I lead, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here because I could be very wrong. I think I lead by just doing.
Yeah.
I lead by example. Like if I'm gonna work 80 hours a week, I expect you to work at least 70.
Yeah.
Or like if I'm gonna break my back breaking this wall down, you're gonna break your back doing it with me when I ask you to, and I'm not demanding you do it. If you tell me I'm like you can't do it, and you're like I'm like okay, I'm gonna do it then.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's really changed. Like I think in improv, I didn't look at myself as a leader necessarily. I think I just did my thing, and if I'm doing my thing, I expect you guys to do your thing.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know if that I don't even know if that's a good style of leading either. I'm just saying
Who knows?
that's how
I don't think anyone really knows. I don't think it's the point of knowing. It's just talking about it and figuring something out.
I think like that is, or what I've felt in the last few years is like that is my default as well, is like do the thing. But like as the business grew like so much so quickly, and like the amount of work and like the volume of like different subject matter needed to be covered, like I couldn't do all the things, and I was so shit at not doing the things that like I was like burying myself in it and became like a bad leader because of that.
I can tear the do it yourself thing apart. Like I can see why it is a bad leader. Like I can tear it apart and go like, oh, you just can't do everything.
But I do think that like now I can see myself trying to go back to where like that works, because that's what I like to do.
Yeah. Right.
I don't want to sit so far away from the work that I feel like disconnected from it. Like I like building the teams, but I also like being part of the team and doing the work. So I think that'll be fun in the next few weeks to figure out.
Allegedly.
I also think though, and Logan's kind of being hard on himself here, but we kind of joked about it before, but Logan does have this antagonist role where a lot of people perceive him as the quote unquote bad guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And by sometimes I mean
Most
often,
of the
most
fucking
of the
time.
Still?
fucking time.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, all the time.
Really?
All the time. All the time.
But I do think it's needed, and I do think like you can't always have the good guy be like, "Oh yeah, we're good."
Yeah.
Like-
Well, you manage it.
No, but I think that
Yeah, dude, everybody loves you with zero exception.
yeah, and I think it's a flaw. Like I think that's
Fair enough.
it's where like there's sometimes where I'm like, man, I wish this person would just do this thing, and I could just be like, hey, fucking do it.
Right.
And I have tried. The problem is my experience, and my experience with saying like, hey, just do this thing, and sort of demanding it versus being like, hey, let's do it. We'll do it together.
Yeah.
Is that the person at the end of the day won't necessarily stay around.
Right.
And again, I guess it comes down to like this, like how people, the motivation, how people want to work, how they like it's like what relationship you're trying to build, how you're. Yeah, I don't have a good answer, but
it doesn't have to be a good answer. It's all good.
But yeah, if you're trying to like get to that,
but yes, still, yeah, still,
and
it's like
making people uncomfortable though is like a huge part of helping people grow. Like the guys or the team members that have been around you for enough time now are like, if you hadn't made me uncomfortable, I would be selling 4 houses a year and I would be okay with that. Probably you want the people that are like...
At the beginning, I said it was a thankless job.
Yeah.
And it's because it really, really is.
Yeah.
There's some people in my life right now that are reaping the benefits of my help and guidance and examples, and they'll never ever know really they know, but they'll never admit that I had anything to do with it.
People in your professional life?
Both.
Okay.
Professional and personal life that have greatly benefited from my example and greatly benefited from my connections and greatly benefited from opportunities that I've given them, and they'll never admit to that. And that's okay. Like what I need to work on is being okay with the fact that it is thankless and it is what it is. I'll sleep at night knowing, hey, I helped these people whether they know it or not. It's a difficult thing. Yeah. It's very, very difficult.
Well, and
I wrestle with it a lot.
Blend your professional and personal life.
I do that a lot. Yes.
The most I've ever seen a person do it ever in my career.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't remember how I learned this, but I guess when I was a kid, I heard that it's not fun to fly private alone. And not that I fly private now. I think that's ridiculous to a certain extent, but like I will for sure eventually. Mm-hmm. And I have no intention of doing it alone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I want to.
You can pay for all of us. We would be okay with it.
But you know what I'd rather? I'd rather give people around me opportunities so that they can pay for themselves to come in my jet with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that I own the jet, but like maybe I do. I don't know. Who cares? I'm not going to, whatever.
No, I get it.
But like, so that always kind of excited me, is I want to bring my friends along for the ride for most of my different businesses.
So messy though.
You know, and you know what? Knock on wood. It's been pretty great.
Yeah.
You know, like me and Bruce, I think are both like that a lot.
Yeah.
And we both want to do that often.
Yeah. Like it's the exact same thing. Like every time I'm with a new contact that's building with us, I want to be friends with them, but it does make it messier.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, when
I
especially
don't know,
when it comes to
like,
having to say something like, "Hey, you didn't do this properly," or "I'm specifically looking for this," and they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm less with the new people. I don't like new people. New people's got to earn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like my old school guys have been rocking with me since the dawn of time. They're coming up with me if they want to come with me. Like I'll give them every opportunity under the sun for as long as I live.
It's so wild. I have like the completely opposite experience.
Take some of that, Sam's friends. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like so, but it is but different.
How so? Like, what has your experience been, and why? Like in that area.
I think like I went out and built like a career on my own and like live a little bit in my own bubble, like, and that is one part of my life. And then I have like this complete other part of my life, which is just like my personal life, which is I don't talk about work a lot. I kind of just like have like my friendships that are totally disconnected from my professional life.
Oh, you hate to see it.
You're going to have to close it down. We should all get in your no?
Yeah, you know what? Let's just do that. Let's
I think this is
all right, guys.
This is a good
This
place.
was the best long form podcast that I've ever been a part of, and we're clipping to one camera right now to do the sign off. But Sam, we're gonna do part 3.
Yeah.
And get you in a couple of weeks and finish that thought. So there's the cliffhanger for you.
Oh,
we
nice.
went through kind of what Bruce and I's hiring practices are and who we like to work with and why. And you're going to have to stay tuned for the next one to figure out how Sam makes those kind of decisions moving forward. You got a little bit of a taste into our nitty gritty personal lives and into our past a little bit. We hope you had fun with that. We probably said way more than we should have, but I think we all had a ton of fun. Sam, get in the goddamn frame.
I feel like they can hear me. It's okay.
Yeah, they can hear you. They can't see you though. There you go. Bruce is pulling you. You guys can share a mic, whatever. It doesn't matter. But guys, thank you so much for tuning into the first ever long form version of Montreal's Elite Unleashed, the podcast for hustlers looking to level up their lives. So thanks so much. And thank you to you guys. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bruce.
And
we love you.
Take it easy for the next 5 days, but then we're going to get back to work.
That's
Back to
right.
work.
Back to work. 5 days.
I'm really curious if people are gonna like long form and what else they would like covered during long form.
Hey,
chats.
if you guys have any kind of requests of what you guys want us to dive a little bit deeper into, just find us all on Instagram or Facebook or whatever and shoot me a message. I'm pretty easy to find, Logan James Boyce, and ask me whatever you want us to dive into a little bit more hardcore, a little deeper next time. But thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.